Well, good morning, and happy Thursday coming from Arizona. And this is your last day, folks. It's supposed to be 99 today. Then there were 100, 101, 101, 100. Let's see, 100, 101, 103, 100. Here we go. Enjoy it today. That's it. Not that there's a big difference between 99 and 101. It's just mental, but party's over. So our spring is ending officially tomorrow, and we're going to be hotter than Hades. So here we go. Actually, 101's not bad here. So I got a couple questions that already came in before we started the live stream from Esther and Jimmy. I can't wait to answer them. I think they're both great questions. We're going to hop to that in a couple of minutes. But today we have 4,604 listings on the market. Yesterday, 4,542. Those of you that are regular followers know that that number didn't pop up as much as we normally see on a Thursday. And why is that? It's Memorial Day weekend. Everybody's going to leave town. People aren't listing their homes. Now, might be a good weekend to go shopping. You might not have as much competition out there. People are bugging out. So it's very, holidays are always interesting. Christmas week, got to be honest with you, great time to put your house on the market because there's no competition. And chances are your house looks great. And what people don't think about is there are people from out of state visiting family here. And they go, well, let's go look for a house. From personal experience, I listed my house in Fountain Hills on Christmas Eve and had an offer on New Year's Eve. And so I think holidays are a great time because the dynamics of the market change a little bit. So let's talk about two of these questions. And then after I answer these questions, I'm going to go in and kind of show you some data. And because there's three thoughts in real estate. It's either going to crash, or it's going to continue to climb, or it's going to level off. That's it. So I want to look at what people are saying and show you where you can get some research. We already know that we're tracking inventory. That's where we want to look the most, but we never know how that's going to change. And you can find all kinds of opinions on this, and we should, because people really need to dissect it. But it depends on what you want, where you want to live, and how long you want to live there. So let's talk about the first question that we have on here. And that is, Esther and Jimmy Andrews said, two questions. We'll go to the first one here. How do I determine as a buyer what to charge the seller per month on a lease back option after the purchase of a home? Trying to figure out how to best construct the offer. So first of all, let's say what a lease back is. You've purchased this house from me, and then you're giving me the opportunity to rent it back from you for 30 or 60 days while I go out and find my other house. So how do you determine what you charge them? It depends. First of all, it depends on your offer. So let's say there's a lot of aggressiveness going on in the purchase of this home and you're competing with a lot of people. You might want to offer them a lease back that's hard to refuse. Give them an offer they can't refuse, right? I want to lease back my house. That makes the offer look really sweet. So let's say that you're offering them, $15,000 more than the list price, but you're saying, you know what? You can lease this back from me for $500 a month. They're going to go, where am I going to get that kind of a deal? I know I'm getting more. I know I can get another, few $1,000s more from maybe another buyer, but I can lease it back really cheap. This is great. I'll take this offer. We did that. We did that in Gilbert. We had $650 a month, 45 days. Or if you're pretty confident that your offer's solid, you can just look at what the standard lease rate is for that size of a house, or simply just match it to what your house payment is. You got a house payment that's coming out $1,700 a month, maybe you charge them $1,700 in rent. So it really depends on situations of how the math works out for you. If you're in a situation where your house payment's $1,700 and the first month, you're not making a house payment, you're leasing it back to them, your payment isn't due for the next month. So you can be a little lower on month one, a little higher on month two, because that's when your payment's coming up. So the short answer is whatever price you want that you think is going to look attractive to the seller, because these lease back options are decided before your offer is accepted. You don't agree to a lease back, and then after they get the contract, you go, oh, by the way, it's $3,000 a month. So now I've seen people willing to pay, pretty high lease back to be able to have some time to move. So those are things to consider too. So all depends on your financial situation, how competitive you want to be, and how flexible the sellers are. So I hope that helps. The second question that you have, what percent of home value would you recommend spending on building a pool to increase the home value if I was planning on selling it in 2 to 3 years? The pool isn't going to determine how much your house is going to be worth in 2 to 3 years. There are so many pools in Arizona. Either somebody wants one or they don't. And so I'm going to show you a couple of examples here. It's not so much the pool as it is the outdoor experience. This is one of my favorite listings that we had down in Chandler. And this couple, they did it right in their backyard. You can see that it's just meant to sit outside and enjoy. Do they have a pool? Yes, it's kind of tucked off to the side right there. But they had this artificial grass, this beautiful seating area right here, a barbecue, a fire pit, and their landscaping was impeccable. See the hedges? Got some vines, they got some color back here. Everything about it was just amazing. And you just wanted to sit outside. The pool, does that add value to the house? Well, just about every house in that neighborhood had a pool, but not every house had this. And this is what made you really like the yard. I mean, when people walked out in this backyard, they just stopped and looked at it. That adds a lot of value. So just to have a pool by itself probably isn't going to do much for you. And they're costing about $35,000. So does that make a $400,000 house now worth $435,000? Not off the bat. It takes a while to get the payback on pools. But here's one more thing to think about on pools right now. Phoenix metro homeowners see pool construction delays and pandemic as the culprit. Wait till you see this. We wanted a diving pool, he told 3 on your side, and the water and cave feature was just the icing on the cake. I mean, why not? So let's just do it. Wallace started the construction by hiring a pool contractor. That was 12 full months ago. A year, and their pool's not done. And so Morris said his licensed company has built 40,000 pools over the course of 2 decades. He's also the contractor building Wallace's pools. Morris said one reason for the industry-wide pool delays is the pandemic has diluted the workforce. In other words, qualified and skilled workers would rather collect unemployment than work and make money. Seriously, there's a definite labor shortage going on out there, and it's affecting all kinds of things. Although I find it hard to believe that they're going to make more money collecting unemployment than working for some of these pool builders, because that's a pretty hard job. So those are a couple things to consider when you're looking at pools. So not just the pool per se, but the entire outdoor experience. You can get a bigger bang for your buck having a pretty simple pool, but just making the rest of the yard just the belle of the ball than you are just saying, here's the pool. Because I've seen pools in backyards that it's just ugly. You know, they didn't put a lot of thought into the landscaping and design around the pool. So that's just my personal thought. I think, you know, you'll see a benefit from a really dressed up backyard, a place where people want to hang out. Any advice on new build homes? My wife and I are under contract already on a new home in Chandler. You know, every builder right now is kind of doing things a little bit different. Some are putting in escalation clauses in case the price goes up. Some are not allowing inspectors to come in and inspect the house during the construction. They're not going to let you do a walkthrough until it's completely done with your inspector. They are doing, sounds like you're already under contract, so you've already made the decision. I think, you know, you got to be prepared to be flexible because they're giving you like a 6 to 8 month window when the home's going to be done. And so, you know, good luck. I mean, if you're already under contract, that's a good thing. So I think you'll be fine. Esther and Jimmy, you're welcome. Thanks for asking the questions. You've heard me say that retirement communities are over 55, not seeing the bidding wars that we normally see in other markets. So I thought, you know, rather than just spit out retirement communities, let me give you an example of one. It's called Trilogy. Let me get out of this. I'm going to switch over to my save searches here. So talk amongst yourself for a moment. There we go. Okay, so here's Trilogy. Trilogy is out here in Gilbert, and it's way out in the East Valley. But you know, if you're retired, you're not commuting to work, right? Now, the age restriction is over 55, but they allow a certain percentage of people that are 40 and older to live in there as well. So it's a golf course community, and it's just fabulous. So when you look at some of the homes here, um, this one is 388,000. Pretty nice looking place, nice floors. And now keep in mind that these over 55 communities do have some pretty expensive HOAs, and they always have a high capital improvement fee. But that's your initial move-in costs. So this one I think is $3,200 for the capital improvement fee. It's $459 a quarter for the HOA, and there is a capital improvement fee here somewhere. Don't see it. I could probably take the time to dig for it, but you don't want to see that. So you've got a home here for $400,000, one for $449,000. But here's the sticker. Right down here under detail, on some of these homes, this one says back on market. Let's see one that's not new. This one down here is 515, and it's been on the market 6 days. Are you seeing anything on the market for 6 days now? Let's see. Here's one for $449. Been on the market for 13 days. So they're not duking it out in the parking lot on bidding wars. Will you be up against one or maybe two more offers? Probably, but not like what you're seeing. You take a $400,000 house out of that over 55 community, and you'll have 10 offers. Inside those walls, maybe one or two. So just school of thought if you're from out of state and you're looking at coming out here. That's a great place to start. Not just Trilogy. Sun City West is really nice. There's some new construction going on even farther up in Buckeye. Sun Lakes is a great community. So there's over 55 places all over the place. Now, there are some articles out here, and I thought you'd enjoy this Twitter storm from the CEO of Redfin as he's talking about prices. And basically, he's the guy that looks at all the data, and he's kind of throwing his hands up saying, I don't know what to tell you. Take a look at this. First thing he says, 1 of 15. Am I going to read all 15? Probably not. It has been hard to convey through anecdotes or data how bizarre the U.S. housing market has become. For example, you'll love this. A Bethesda, Maryland home buyer worked with Redfin, included in her written offer to pledge to name her firstborn child after the seller. She lost. Like that means anything to the seller? I mean, seriously. Your name is, your name's Jimmy? I'm going to name my first son Jimmy. Oh, okay, I'll take your offer. 2 of 15, there are now more realtors than listings. Yep. If you look at Arizona, I think we have 50 to 60,000 of us. If you look at active agents that have sold one or more home this year, there's 18,000. There's 18,000 agents that have sold one or more homes. We have 4,604 homes. So get out of my way. I'm going to find a buyer for that one. 3 of 15, inventory is down 30%, 37% year over year, a record low. The typical home sells in 17 days, a record low. Home prices are up a record amount, 20% year over year, to a record high. And still, homes are selling on average for 1.7% higher than the asking price, another record. But in 2 of America's largest cities, inventory has decreased, in New York by 20% and San Francisco by 77%. Does that surprise anybody? Especially in New York. San Francisco inventory is up 77%. But look at this, though. San Francisco hasn't had an inventory increase this large since 2008, and yet still in both markets, prices are increasing. That doesn't make sense. That's going to be funny to watch. I mean, that does not make sense. Unless inventory is up 77%, but it's been down so low that maybe they're still not up to normal. 5 of 15. In 2020, new construction permits were down 13% in D.C. and in New York, 40%, L.A. 48%, Chicago 50%, Seattle 79%. San Francisco permits were up 25%. So they're up 25% when their inventory is up 77%. Looks like bad math. The storm's headed your way. Miami 56, Las Vegas 96, Greenville 122, Detroit 122% in Detroit, 246 in Knoxville. And number 6 out of 15, lumber prices are up 300%. So a lot of numbers out there. He doesn't quite know where to go with that. In this article I found on Realtor.com, or actually it's MSN Money, the new American status symbol, the backyard that's basically a fancy living room. Esther and Jimmy, this is what I was talking about. So these are pretty fancy here. That's in Palm Springs. There's some fabulous places out there. But in our warm weather climates, it's all about the backyard. It's all about the outdoor living. The outdoor living is more than just a pool. Sorry to scroll past that so much, but that is where people want to see themselves when they get something out here. Some of the glass doors that you have, the entire back of the house opens up to the outdoor area. I love that feature. It's expensive. The Federal Reserve is saying, this is one person now, remember a lot of opinions, he's not seeing any excess leverage in housing right now. What does that mean? Well, he's saying we're not seeing loans that are put together where people are putting down this much to control this much. Not seeing excess leverage. We're not seeing 0% down or 1% or people getting in and barely having any equity. Now he's saying this could change, but right now he's saying, I don't see anything that really alarms me that if house prices started to soften, that it's going to throw people off and they're going to have to foreclose on their homes. So he's not seeing it. And that's just one out of many people in the Fed. Now, the Fed has talking about raising rates, and we touched on this a little bit yesterday. And so it looks like they're kind of chattering about it right now, but they're trying to figure out a plan for later. If we see that unemployment is coming down and it stays there, that's the thing. The numbers that they're looking at have to stick. Right now, as people are talking inflation and hyperinflation, folks, it doesn't happen in the United States. It happens in other countries like Venezuela. Long economic discussion about that, but you won't see hyperinflation. But we could see higher inflation. But what the Fed is saying is it's going to have to stick. We're up about 4.5% right now, and everybody's going, oh, here it comes. They could be right, but it has to stick. So the Fed says if that 4% keeps going into 2022, at that point, we're going to have to talk about backing off of buying treasuries and mortgage-backed securities. They're not going to see anything done in 2021 because the unemployment rate, while it's coming down, we're not sure how sustainable it is. And while inflation is up, we think, according to the data, that it's a supply side issue and it may come back down. It may go away. These numbers are also comparing last March and last April, where things were barely moving along. So a lot of problems out there in trying to look at these numbers and saying, how long is this going to stay with us? So that's what they're going to look at before they decide whether or not they're going to pull back on mortgage-backed securities. And if they do, and that raises interest rates, then we got to look and go, okay, the raising of interest rates, is that going to make buyers back off? And like I asked the question yesterday, if they back off, what about sellers? Are sellers now going to say, well, I'm sitting here at a 2.87. Why do I want to go buy something? And now I got to do 4%. The inventory number may get worse, or it may gradually come up just because buyers are staying home. So nobody knows. We're just going to keep watching it. The 7-day moving average that I pulled up today for the market shows us that we had, let me take a quick look at this. 7-day moving average says we had 4,129 new homes come under contract and 4,069, let me read it again. 4,129 new homes come up, of which 4,069 went under contract, a difference of only 60. Again, the chart's showing a little bit of a decline as we head into the Memorial Day weekend. So speaking of that, Pat and I may not have a 3 o'clock call tomorrow. I'll let everybody know in the community section if we're going to do that. So I am not heading out of town. I rarely leave town on Memorial Day or 4th of July. There's two roads that come out of town, I-17 and 87 going up to Payson. And sometimes the traffic's just horrendous. And unless you leave really early on Monday morning coming back, you don't know how long it's going to take you to come back. And I hate traffic, so I don't put myself through that. So everybody, let's see, Rick, what are your thoughts on a new standard of waived appraisals causing an artificial surge in home prices? I don't know that it's starting an artificial surge, because the surge in the home prices are just the fact that there aren't very many homes and a lot of people want them. So if I want to buy this microphone and there's only one and there's 10 of us that want to buy this microphone's going to be worth more. The fact that they're waiving appraisals is just a way to say, look, I think that home's worth $450,000. I'm so confident in it that if it isn't worth $450,000, I will pay the difference. So the buyer has said, here's what I think the value is. It's also an indication that some of these buyers have excess cash to work with to enable them to close the gap for appraisal. So if it only appraises at 425, they offered 450, they're going to cough up the extra 25K. That is an indication that there's a lot of aggressive activity for buyers. But whether or not they waived appraisals or not, the price is still the price. People are just using it as an option to try and win a contract. But the appraisals aren't catching up. It depends. It all depends on the price point and where they're at. Steve says, we are constantly seeing appraisals coming in significantly lower than contract acceptance. Personally, it hasn't happened to me yet. I have had one where I was pretty darn nervous, but it was a VA loan, but at the last minute, we got to submit 3 other comps that just closed that the appraiser didn't see, and they closed so much higher than the contract price that we actually came in 10K above what our offer price was. And we're sitting there worried that we might have to cough up $35,000. It's a real roll of the dice on appraisals, and people are willing to take that chance right now. And I know some realtors are saying that they are seeing appraisals come in low, but I don't know if that's a conventional appraisal, FHA, or VA. All depends on the neighborhood, the house, and appraisers do get to take into consideration how many offers came in over the asking price and by how much. So if the listing agent could just leave them there and say, look, here's how many offers came in for this house. I know I listed it at 400 and we're at 450, but look, I have 4 offers here that are 440 or higher. And they get to take that into consideration. But if you're not showing that to the appraiser, appraisers don't like a lot of input. They know their job. They know what they want to do, but they don't mind you saying, here's what came in. They don't mind you saying, not sure if you saw this one down the street, just went under contract yesterday. Here's what I know about it. Here's the agent. The appraisers sometimes will call that agent. Hey, I understand your home went under contract. I'm doing a comp on the home down the street. Can you tell me, did you get an offer that came in over list or not? And they'll do that. I've had phone calls like that. So it's a wild card out there. So everybody have a safe and fabulous Memorial Day weekend. And if you don't want to be 101 degrees, just drive up the hill a little bit and you'll be just fine. Enjoy the week. Enjoy the weekend. Take care.